Thank you, Jim. Appreciate the ongoing support. As mentioned last year, I was approached by my good and great friends at the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, who do such a wonderful job in staging top-notch worldwide sporting events here in the Greater New Orleans area, and are instrumental in bidding on Super Bowls, bringing Final Fours, and bringing other significant sporting events, including one which I'm quite sure he'll mention here very shortly. It's an organization that many people belong to, and if you don't, you really should look into doing so, and I'm sure he can provide information on that because it's easy to get involved from the standpoint of being part of it. It's easy to volunteer part of it and to do something substantial for our community. It's my pleasure to call him a good and great friend. We've had a professional relationship over the better part of 3 decades, but he's a really good person, more importantly. Please give a warm welcome to the Executive Director of the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, Mr. Jay Cicero. Jay?
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate being here. Our organization, the Sports Foundation, is responsible for, as Ken said, bringing in, bidding upon and managing sporting events, major events to the city. We've been recently very lucky to have announced the 2022 Men's Final Four returning to New Orleans in the last few weeks. We also have the R+L Carriers New Orleans Bowl coming up this Saturday at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, our 16th annual New Orleans Bowl, so very proud of that. And today we announced that we've attracted, along with SMG and the arena officials, a CBS Sports Basketball Classic. It should be a doubleheader next year, December 23rd of 2017. It'll be a doubleheader game between Kentucky, North Carolina, Ohio State, and UCLA. So the biggest of the big and the most high-profile. All the events that we do obviously have a lot of publicity, a lot of attention to it. But having grown up the son of a high school coach and teacher for 45 years, I know the importance and how big it is to play high school sports. Very close to my heart, very close to my family, and it is something that is very rewarding, not only for the student athletes, but the coaches and their families. So I congratulate all of you and everyone who's associated with high school sports. I know Kenny and Ed do a heck of a lot during the year to promote high school sports, and they do a great job with it and have a passion for it that is really unmatched anywhere that I've seen. So congratulations to everyone, all the student athletes today, all the coaches and families of the student athletes. Y'all deserve a great hand, and thanks for, we really appreciate being a part of this. Thank you.
Once again, a reminder, the event's streaming live on Facebook, sportsnola.com. Facebook, sportsnola.com is the official website of the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation Quarterback Club. Next up, it's my pleasure to introduce a gentleman who really needs no introduction. He's in every Hall of Fame known to mankind, including the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2010. He's in the Saints Hall of Fame. He's in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame. I joke with him all the time. Whenever they create a new Hall of Fame, he'll get in. But it's all good. And he's one of my dear friends, and we have the great privilege to do a television show together, which we've done now for the better part of 5 years. And God willing, we'll be doing it for another 40 years or so because he's a pleasure to work with. He's a good man. And, of course, he was a great football player. He was also one of the 4 members of the New Orleans Saints Ring of Honor, an inaugural member back in 2013, and has a Super Bowl championship ring, which he got somewhere else, but we forgive him for that. It's all good. Here to say a few words to the young men here today and the audience as well, as a gentleman that's been in your shoes and has an understanding of where you're going with your lives. Please give a warm welcome to Pro Football Hall of Famer and our great friend, Ricky Jackson. Rick?
Thank you, Ken. I don't know about all them Hall of Fames Ken talking about. But I give honor to the Spirit of Christ, who's the head of my life, first of all. And I'd like to thank every one of y'all for coming out today to support these young men. I know that when I was in high school, I was in the same boat coming out of high school. Did some great things and look forward to going to college and getting ready for the next level. And before I say something to y'all, I'm going to let a friend of mine, Pat Swilling, one of the greatest football players to ever come through here. He got all those accolades too, and they got some guys in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that he's got better stats than, and I wouldn't want to name a couple, but, you know, when you're in New Orleans, they kind of hold you back a little bit, but if you're in New York or some other places, they put you up real fast, you know what I mean? So, and that's what happened to me, and the same thing happened to a lot of other great football players in New Orleans. They get held back because of the low market, but everybody know if you're in New York and you did some of the things that Pat did and Sam and Vaughn did, you wouldn't have a problem with getting in the Hall of Fame. So a lot of times, just like me, it took me 9 years to get in. When I left the NFL, I was like number 1, 2, or 3 in every category that they was. So it took me 9 years to get in. So that's because I played for the Saints. If I'd have been in New York or New England or somewhere like Tippett and Taylor and them, I would have got in a whole lot faster. So, you know, sometimes being from New Orleans, you have to wait your turn, but I still believe that some of those guys are going to get in because they're great football players. But the Dawn Patrol was voted the best set of linebackers ever played in the NFL by certain people. And I really believe that. Thank you. I really believe that because, you know, on Sunday, those 4 guys was all out. They was out to bring it. And I take my hat off to them. But I would like for Pat to say a couple words because he was one of, if I knew Pat was coming, he know he wouldn't have had me here today because, you know, after he told me Archie Manning was going to come, I said, well, you got enough star power. I don't need to come. And having Pat Swilling here, that's more than enough star power. So I'm going to let Pat say something for a few minutes to the young men because he did it all. All-American in college. He went through the whole gamut, too. So I'm going to let Pat say a couple words.
You have to know Ricky Jackson. Only Ricky Jackson would do this to me. But to the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation and to Kenny and Ed and the great job you guys do, and to all the student athletes here, I've been lucky in the last couple of years to be able to watch a lot of you guys. And on Friday and Saturday night also watching television and watching Ed and some of the shows and some of the great jobs that you guys have did. And I was fortunate enough to have my own son, Bruce, and to watch them play for the last 4 years. It's an exciting time. You know, as a student athlete, guys, you guys have a great opportunity before you. College is coming. It's going to be fun. It's going to be hectic. It's going to be different. But you guys are going to enjoy it and you're going to love it. It's a great opportunity. It's a great chance for you guys to go out and continue to do the work that you guys have done here. And I wish you all the luck. But remember one thing. Be a student athlete. Be a student athlete. Graduation is the most important thing. Football is second. Family is always first. And remember that, okay? I wish you all a lot of luck and look forward to seeing you guys on all the great teams you're going to play as things move forward in your life. Thank you.
Next up, Vaughn Johnson. No, just kidding. No, great.
Hey, but you know, I would like to say to the young man is this. When you go to college, just like I went from Florida, small school, small town with about 4,000 people. And, you know, we have such a great football tradition there. And when I left Florida, I went to the University of Pittsburgh. And I never really seen a 3-story building before. So when I got there, man, it was just totally different when I got there. But I know that by me being a great football player, I would fit in because I was going there to play football. But one thing you have to realize when you get there, it's surrounding. And I mean, I tell each and every one of you young men, make sure that you surround yourself with good people. Because when you go to a new town, like some of y'all going to do, you got to make sure that you know your surrounding. That's the number one thing that I tell to young athletes who are going somewhere. Don't get in a situation that you're not comfortable with or you don't know nothing about. So make sure when you find your friends and stuff, make sure that you watch your back and make sure that you know your surroundings. And that's what I like to leave to each and every one of y'all, because that's what happened to me. When you go to college, you're going to get with friends and stuff, and make sure you get with the right friends. And like Pat said, make sure you go to school. You know, coming back in the old days, guys didn't worry about school as much as they have to now. You know, y'all guys now, you got to pass your grades. You got to do good all the stater. So make sure you work hard in that field, like he said. But I just take my hat off to you, man. I look at all y'all during the season. Ken keep me up with high school football, and I went to a couple of games this year, and I really take my hat off to high school football, because that's the start. I mean, all the gateway, you know, me and Pat got to in college and pros, you got to do good in high school. So all y'all did well in the first step. Now the next stage of getting to college and taking care of your business, and hope to see all y'all in the NFL one day. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'll stay in touch and keep watching you guys. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ricky. Distinct pleasure. Our next speaker is a gentleman who's devoted his professional career to promoting high school athletics in every capacity. And we kind of got started together. We went to high school and college together, and we've been best friends ever since. And we've had the opportunity, it's been a privilege, frankly, to be able to meet so many great people, many of whom are in the room today, coaches, administrators, parents, players. And that's why we do this, because it's an enormous amount of work to do on a week-to-week basis to prepare a 1 hour plus television show, a statewide radio show of 5 hours. And sometimes we both wonder, man, are we nuts? And we probably are, but we're most nuts about doing what we do, and that's why we continue to do it after all these years. Among the things he's done 25 years ago, he conceived a concept and put it into practice to do a television show strictly devoted to high school football called Friday Night Football. They launched it, as mentioned, 25 years ago, and 25 years later, they're still going strong, having just finished up their season this past Saturday night with the conclusion of another ridiculously long weekend in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. He's won many awards for his outstanding work professionally, and aside from being the sports director of ABC 26 and hosting Friday Night Football, they do many other special shows on the station that you will continue to see, devoted to baseball, soccer, basketball, everything under the sun. He also serves as a tri-host of the Three Tailgater Show with myself and Rick Gailey, and he does a lot of other things, including writing for the Clarion Herald and for SportsNOLA.com. Please give a warm welcome to my good friend, Mr. Ed Daniels. Ed?
Appreciate it. It's fantastic to be here today. I would like to let you know that coming up in January at the Ilario Center, starting Wednesday night, January 4th, is our 7th annual All-State Sugar Bowl National Prep Classic. And we have several schools from the New Orleans area. We have 5 out-of-state teams this year. Our tournament started in 2011 with 8 teams. This year we'll have 44. We have a 32-team girls bracket and a 12-team boys bracket. We have 2 different girls brackets. Our tournament has grown so much. So we would appreciate your support. And if you would support our tournament, it continues to grow, and we're excited about it. I'd like to thank my Friday Night Football colleagues here today, Mr. J.T. Curtis and Mr. Robert O'Shields, for another fantastic year. It's a delight to work with both of them. I would also like to thank Stan Kahneman and Kevin Keitel for their leadership here at the Quarterback Club. And I would like to thank Mr. Ken Trahan and the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation for their outstanding efforts in keeping the Quarterback Club alive as an incredible New Orleans tradition that goes back a long, long time. And let's hope it's here for many, many years. I'd also like to thank the coaches in this room, because I know a lot of you are extremely busy during the season, and you always return our calls. And believe me, that's kind of a lost art in America today. And I very much appreciate the fact that maybe you don't call us back right away, but when you have a free moment, you give us a little bit of your time. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I'd also like to thank the All-State Sugar Bowl. They sponsor our show. They sponsor our basketball tournament. The All-State Sugar Bowl does an unbelievable job of supporting amateur athletics in our area. I'd also like to give a thanks and a shout-out to Best Chevrolet, who is the presenting sponsor of our Best Player of the Week and Best Player of the Year awards. And I would also like to thank the Sugar Bowl again because we will be giving out our Coach of the Year award at this ceremony here today. Also, since it is the holidays, I would ask that you do something nice for the elderly. So what I'm going to do during this holiday season, I'm going to look out especially for some people older than me. J.T. Curtis, Rick Gailey, Ro Brown, and Ken Trahan. Have a great day.
Couldn't resist. All good. We're going to dispense with awards now, and as we do so, we want to tell you about how this goes about. We made sure that we have to preserve the integrity of the situation, so we do our best to dole it out to as many different people representing different schools as we can. It's very difficult to pick one person on a weekly basis from an entire metropolitan area, which stretches out to St. James Parish, to Tangier Hope Parish, to St. Bernard Parish, Plaquemine, Jefferson, Orleans. So you can imagine how difficult it is to pick one person. So to receive the award obviously is significant. In the process of doing so, to ensure that we have no ties, I not only enlist Ed to help me select the players, but also Rick Gailey, whom Ed mentioned previously, who does a great job for our website at Sports NOLA, as well as on WGSO Radio and with Prep Recruiting Insider on WHNO TV 20. And we're not always unanimous, as Ed and Rick can tell you. We have great debates on a regular basis because there's so many great choices. So to be honored here today is significant. With that in mind, we'll get started. I'll ask Jim and Jay if they can go ahead and start getting the trophies. They're in order left to right. And I'll ask Ricky to come up and help present the trophies to the young men as they come forward. And when you do come forward, we'll ask you to do so to my right, stage right for you. And the stairs are over there. And make your way up to the podium to where I'm at so that we have you say a few words as well. We get started with week number 1, our Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation Quarterback Club Prep Player of the Week for week number 1, sponsored by Chad Ravanack, is junior wide receiver Jamar Chase of Archbishop Rummel High School. Chase smashed a pair of school records as the Raiders downed 3A Power University High 28-14. The junior broke the record for receiving yards in a game with 226, eclipsing the previous record of 220, and he broke the record for touchdown receptions in a game with 4. He also carried the ball once for 12 yards. Jamar is coached by Jay Roth. Jay, take a bow. And then we'd like to recognize Jamar's family members who are here today as well. Please take a bow. Our Player of the Week for week number 1 from Archbishop Rummel is wide receiver Jamar Chase. Jamar?
I want to say thank you to my coach, my mom and dad, and the Quarterbacks Club for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamar. He's got basketball on his mind now, I think so. Appreciate you, buddy. Our Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation Quarterback Club Prep Player of the Week for week number 2, sponsored by Mike Benj, is quarterback Jakyle Holmes of Ponchatoula. Holmes was instrumental in a huge road winner of a 5A Power Acadiana. He rushed 20 times for 179 yards and a touchdown, and he completed 7 of 10 passes for 217 yards as the Green Wave rallied to defeat the powerhouse Wrecking Rams 24-23 on the road at Scott, Louisiana. Holmes is coached by Hank Tierney, who couldn't be here today, but his assistant Trey Willie is here today. Trey, take a bow. And we'd also like to recognize family members of Jakyle who are here today as well. Our Prep Player of the Week for week number 2 from Ponchatoula High School is Jakyle Holmes of Ponchatoula High School.
I want to say thank you to my coach and the quarterback club for giving us the opportunity to be up here today. Thank you.
For week number 3, from Landry-Walker High School, quarterback Keytaon Thompson. A Mississippi State commit, Thompson was brilliant as Landry-Walker bounced St. Augustine 42-20. He rushed 14 times for 176 yards and 3 touchdowns. He completed 15 of 24 passes for 202 yards and 3 more touchdowns. He added a pair of 2-point conversions, accounting for 40 points, as the Charging Buccaneers won the football game in solid fashion. Thompson is coached by Emmanuel Powell. Emmanuel, take a bow. And we'd like to recognize his family members that are here today as well. Please take a bow. Sponsored by Roe Brown. Thank you, Roe. Our player of the week for week number 3 from Landry-Walker High School is Keytaon Thompson.
I just want to thank the quarterback club and my family, and my school, and my coaches, and everyone who supported me. And to God be the glory. I just put God first, and I'm blessed to receive this award. I'm thankful. Thank you.
Thank you, Keytaon. Our player of the week for week number 4 is quarterback Justice McCoy of St. Augustine High School. A Florida Atlantic commit, McCoy accounted for all 4 touchdowns as St. Augustine down Jesuit 27-23 in the District 9 5A opener for both teams. McCoy completed 11 of 18 passes for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he rushed 16 times for 80 yards and 2 additional touchdowns. McCoy is coached by Al Jones. Al, take a bow. I'd like to recognize Justice's family members, too, if you will. Take a bow. This award sponsored by our good friend, attorney Harry Henderson III. Our week 4 player of the week from St. Augustine High School is quarterback Justice McCoy. Justice.
I just want to thank everyone for giving me this opportunity. Thank my family, thank my coaches for putting in all the work.
Our player of the week for week number 5, running back, wide receiver, Anthony Puka Williams of Hahnville High School. A junior, Williams rushed 15 times for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. He caught 3 passes for 100 yards and 1 touchdown as Hahnville came from behind to defeat St. Thomas More, who went on to win a state championship, 43-42 in an absolute thriller. Williams is coached by Nick Saltaformaggio. Nick, take a bow. I'd like to recognize Anthony's family members as well that are here today. And this award is sponsored by Tony Stoltz and Bobby Siegel, quarterback club members. Thank you, gentlemen. For week number 5, our player of the week from Hahnville is Anthony Williams. Anthony?
I just want to thank everybody that supported me through the process, and appreciate the coach for putting me up here, giving me the time in the day to do what I do best. Thank everybody.
Congratulations, Anthony. Now about the nickname. No. Should have had you tell that story. Our player of the week for week number 6 from St. Paul's, Bradley Mashburn, defensive end. A senior, Mashburn was in on 15 tackles, including 4 sacks, as St. Paul's rallied past city and district rival Covington, 31-14, in a key 6-5A contest at Jack Salter Stadium. Mashburn is coached by Kenny Sears. Ken, take a bow. And we'd like to recognize Bradley's family that's here today as well. Please take a bow. Table sponsored by our good friend Tim Levy here at the Cannery for week number 6. Our player of the week from St. Paul's is Bradley Mashburn. Bradley?
First off, I'd like to thank my family for supporting me throughout my football career. I'd like to thank Coach Sears, the rest of the coaching staff. I'd like to thank my teammates for an incredible season. And I'd like to thank the quarterback club for presenting me with this award.
Congratulations, Bradley. Our player of the week for week number 7 from St. Charles Catholic, quarterback, defensive back, Lloyd Nash. A junior, Nash rushed 24 times for 330 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he completed 3 of 3 passes for 30 yards. For good measure, he had 2 tackles defensively as St. Charles Catholic defeated Newman 38-19 at Lupin Field. Nash is coached by Frank Monica. Frank, take a bow, if you will. I want to recognize Lloyd's family members as well, if you will, take a bow. Table sponsored by Kevin Macaluso, Dorsey & Company Incorporated, Our player of the week for week number 7 from St. Charles Catholic is Lloyd Nash. Lloyd?
I'd like to thank the quarterback club for giving me this opportunity. I'd like to thank my teammates, my family, and especially thanks to coaching staff for pushing me, to strive hard and be the best. And I just thank everybody for this opportunity.
Now Lloyd gets ready for baseball. Our player of the week for week number 8 from Country Day High School, wide receiver, defensive back, kicker, whatever else they want to have him do. The coach is a slave driver. Brice Patagna, a junior. Patagna did it all as Country Day remained unbeaten with a 51-21 district win over Newman at Wenzel Field. Offensively, Patagna caught 5 passes for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, he had 5 tackles, including 2 for loss, and 3 pass breakups. In the kicking game, he executed 2 consecutive successful onside kicks, both of which he recovered. He also kicked a 27-yard field goal and made 6 extra points for good measure. Patagna is coached by Joe Chango. Joe, you slave driver, he's killing this kid. And we'd like to recognize Brice's parents and family members, if you will, as well. Take a bow. Award sponsored by Ron Ashley, our player of the week for week number 8 from Metairie Park Country Day, Brice Patagna. Brice?
I'd like to thank the quarterback club for giving me this award. I'd also like to thank my teammates especially, because this wouldn't have happened without them. I'd like to thank my family for giving me the opportunity to attend Country Day. And I'd also like to thank my coaches, especially Coach Chango, for pushing our team and putting us at our best. Thank you.
Congratulations, Brice. Our player of the week for week number 9 from John Curtis Christian, defensive back Brandon Davis, a junior. Davis intercepted 2 passes, had a pass breakup, forced a key fumble as well in the game, which led to the winning score, and he added 3 tackles as John Curtis Christian downed Archbishop Rummel 31-17 to clinch at least a share of the Catholic League championship. Davis is coached by J.T. Curtis. J.T., take a bow. And we'd like to recognize Brandon's family members here today as well. Our player of the week for week number 9, sponsored by Tony Meyer, is Brandon Davis of John Curtis Christian. Brandon?
First off, I want to thank the quarterback club for everything that y'all did here, and my family and friends, great coaching staff, J.T. Curtis, and thank you.
Our player of the week for week number 10 from Karr High School is quarterback Alden Clark. A senior, Clark accounted for 5 touchdowns and a 56-12 win over previously unbeaten McDonough 35 to keep the Cougars undefeated themselves as they claim the District 9 4A championship. Clark completed 10 of 13 passes for 284 yards and 3 touchdowns. He rushed 5 times for 21 yards and 2 touchdowns. An Arkansas State commitment, Clark is coached by Brice Brown. Brice, take a bow. I'd like to recognize Alden's family members here as well. Please be recognized. Award sponsored by Linda Slayton, Dockside Lineman Incorporated. Our player of the week for week number 10 from Edna Karr is Alden Clark. Alden?
Thank the man above, and thank the Karr family, thank my parents, my mama, my daddy. Congratulations to all these guys up here today, that have received awards and that will receive awards. And thanks to my old line, my offensive line, because I wouldn't be here without them. Thank you. Thank everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, your future mayor, governor, I don't know. Way to go, Alden. Good job. Get that offensive line taken care of, man. Our player of the week for week number 11 from Isidore Newman School is quarterback Miles LaPierre. A senior, LaPierre completed 25 of 35 passes for 293 yards and 5 touchdowns with no interceptions, and he rushed 14 times for 80 yards as 12th seed Newman staged a thrilling come-from-behind 41-40 win at 5th seeded Dunham in the opening round of the Division III state playoffs in Baton Rouge. Lapeer is coached by Nelson Stewart. Nelson, take a bow. I'd like to recognize Miles' family members here today as well, speaking of the All-State Sugar Bowl. And we'd like to thank our sponsor, the Robert and Patricia Lapeer family, for this award. Our Player of the Week for week number 11 from Newman School is Miles Lapeer. Miles?
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank my family and coaches, especially Coach Stu and my parents, for not only being here today, but helping me develop as a player and as a person. Like Alden said, thank my offensive line. Couldn't have done it without them. And lastly, I'd want to thank the quarterback club for having me and giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Future State Senator Miles Lapeer, ladies and gentlemen. For week number 12, our Player of the Week from Brother Martin High School, running back Bruce Jordan Swilling. A senior and commit to Georgia Tech, Jordan Swilling rushed 36 times for 225 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead the 6th-seeded Crusaders to a 28-0 victory over previously unbeaten 3rd seed and defending Division I state champion Catholic High in Baton Rouge in the state quarterfinals. Jordan Swilling is coached by Mark Bonice. Mark, take a bow. And you've already met the dad. We'll get both family members recognized. Pat and Robin, if you take a bow. The award is sponsored by John J. Hazard IV. Our Player of the Week for week number 12 from Brother Martin, Bruce Jordan Swilling. Bruce?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank my mom, my dad, my coach Bonice, my offensive line for bringing me here, because without them, I wouldn't be here. And I would like to thank the Greater New Orleans Football Foundation for having me here and for me receiving this award. Thank you.
It's very nice that Ricky didn't try to tackle him. Thank you. Our Player of the Week for week number 13 from Riverside Academy is quarterback Jordan Loving. A junior, Loving completed 19 of 30 passes for 247 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he rushed 3 times for 29 yards as the top seed Riverside defeated 4th seeded Catholic High of New Iberia 40-14 in the Division III semifinals. Loving is coached by Bill Stubbs. Bill, take a bow. And we'd like to recognize Jordan's family members here today as well. Please be recognized. Take a bow. The award is sponsored by Paul Mayoral and WSLA 1560 AM. Our Player of the Week for week number 13 from Riverside Academy is quarterback Jordan Loving. Jordan?
I'd like to thank the New Orleans Quarterback Club for having me here. And I'd also like to thank a great coaching staff, my family, and great teammates. Without them, none of this would be possible, and I couldn't be standing up here. We had a great season, and I'm thankful for everybody. Also like to congratulate these guys right here. Congratulations, guys.
Okay, now, so Coach Bird wants you to get your shoulder healthy so you can get onto the basketball court, right? Our Player of the Week for week number 14 from Lutcher High School, strong safety Dylan Ricotta. A senior, Ricotta was in on 14 tackles, including 3 for loss and 1 sack, and he forced a fumble as defending state champion Lutcher down top-seeded and previously unbeaten West Feliciana on the road, 16-14 in the Class 3A semifinals. Ricotta is coached by Dwayne Jenkins. Dwayne, take a bow. I'd like to recognize Dylan's family members as well. Please take a bow. This award sponsored by Vic, Johnny, Brian, and Mark Hughes here from the cannery, and we appreciate their support. Again, our Player of the Week for week number 14 from Lutcher is Dylan Ricotta. Dylan?
I just want to thank my coaching staff, my family, friends, and all my teammates, and especially Coach Jenkins for bringing us back to back. Thank y'all.
And our final Player of the Week for week number 15 from this past weekend in state championship games from Lutcher High School as well is quarterback John Trey Kirkland. A senior and LSU commit, Kirkland completed 11 of 22 passes for 158 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he rushed 30 times for 223 yards and a fourth score as Lutcher downed A-Meet 40-36 to win its second consecutive Class 3A state championship, the 8th overall in school history, and the first time they've repeated as champions in school history. Our reigning quarterback club player of the year, Jakyle Kirkland, is coached by Dwayne Jenkins. Again, Dwayne, take another bow. And we'd like to recognize his family members as well. Please take a bow. The award is sponsored by Dr. Benny Jones, whom you heard from earlier. Thank you, Benny. And our player of the week for Week 15 from Lutcher High School is Jakyle Kirkland of Lutcher High.
First off, I just want to thank God for the blessings He have placed in my life. I mean, I'm just glad to be out here and be presented the award. I mean, I want to thank the quarterback club for giving me this award. Thank all my fans, my coaches, for all y'all support.
That's like he's been up here before. Way to go, Jakyle. Good job. Congratulations. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we turn our attention to our special awards, which, of course, encompass honoring one specific player, one specific coach, and I think Ed will mention a team as well. But we have these special awards to present, and obviously when we get to this stage, it's, again, very difficult because you could pick any number of young men who are sitting here today for these awards, and others for that matter as well. It's a difficult task, but we choose to accept it, and having said that, we'll draw your attention to the screen as we get into our first award, which is the Player of the Year. And as you watch the screen, you'll figure out pretty quickly about who we're talking about and what we're talking about. And I think you'll enjoy seeing some of the highlights that you'll have a chance to watch here momentarily for said individual. And it's called Vamping. And ready to go? Good? All right. So with that, here we go. A 3-year starter. He led Landry-Walker to its first ever state championship and beat a storied program in West Monroe 50-21 in the Class 5A state championship game Saturday night in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. The victory was the 13th consecutive win for the Charging Buccaneers. In the championship game, he completed 16 of 27 passes for 303 yards and 5 touchdowns, and he rushed 23 times for 154 yards and a 6th touchdown against West Monroe. For the season, he accounted for 72 touchdowns. He completed 198 of 331 passes, that's 60%, for 3,835 yards and 46 touchdowns. He rushed 152 times for 1,418 yards and 26 touchdowns. In basketball, he was a part of state championships in 2014 and 2015. In the latter, by the way, he sank the game-winning shot as time expired in a 37-35 win over Selman. He is coached by Emmanuel Powell. He's verbally committed to play college football at Mississippi State. He's also, by the way, a straight-A student. Ladies and gentlemen, our 2016 R+L Carriers New Orleans Bowl, Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, SportsNoah.com, WHNO TV 20, WGSO 990 AM, Friday Night Football on ABC 26, and WNOL Prep Player of the Year for 2016 is quarterback Keytaon Thompson of Landry-Walker High School. Keytaon?
I just want to, thank everyone, and it's been a fun experience, having all these blessings and opportunities come my way, all at once, I want to thank my family, like I said earlier, my coaches, and I want to thank my coach, John Johnson, especially our offensive coordinator, he planned this whole thing out, actually, in the off season, and said, if you just believe in the process and work hard and stay at it, we'll get you the Gatorade Player of the Year, the 5A Player of the Year, and we're going to win state, most importantly. And the only thing we fell short of was 80 times. Thanks to Coach Emmanuel Powell, calling the dogs off a couple of times, but, we fine. And maybe I've been this good. Maybe my O-line just got better over these next couple of years, and we finally got it done. But once again, I want to thank the quarterback club, and I thank you all. Just thank you.
A few things for Keytaon to carry home today. Each year, the coolest things for me is being around successful people. And we have a lot of tremendous coaches in our area. And there's a coach in this room who coached in another state for a while who came back and told me how great the coaching was in the metro New Orleans area. And there's no doubt that high school football in this area is as well coached or better than any place in the country, which makes this award each year extremely difficult to hand out to one person. But we are going to do that. And to do that, Mr. Jude Young is going to play a clip of this gentleman speaking to his club. So I would draw your attention to the screen, please.
You talked about a process in which you've been through that was so hard, that was so rigorous, that nobody believed that you could do it. Nobody. Everybody thought that you were the Buffalo Bills. And nobody believed in the process. Just take a moment and reflect on everything that you done been through. Everything that you done been through since January, when you going to study hall every day and you wanted to cuss me out. You getting home at 8 o'clock every day. Coach is getting home at 9 o'clock. Taking time away from your kids, taking time away from your family. But the end result, and I don't know if everybody remember this, we had a talk after one of those games that we was after something that we could not touch. Y'all remember that? But guess what? Now you can touch it. Now you can touch it. You could touch it for the rest of your life. These memories that we done created through these 12 months, you will never forget. And I just want to tell y'all from the bottom of my heart, I love each and every one of y'all to death.
So, ladies and gentlemen, our Coach of the Year led the Karr Cougars to an unbeaten 14-0 record, 34-21 victory over Neville in the Class 4A championship game. Neville did not score a point in the second half. Ended their 39-game win streak, 2-year reign as state champion. Third state championship in school history for Karr, and it was special for him, the first for a former Cougar player and assistant coach. And as you know, they are very much about family. Most recently chosen as the New Orleans Saints NFL Coach of the Year for New Orleans and Southeast Louisiana. With this recognition, he becomes a candidate for the Don Shula NFL National Coach of the Year. Karr has played in the 4A state championship game 5 of the last 6 seasons, winning twice. They end the season ranked 52nd in the nation in max preps. They have to do something about their ratings. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very excited. The All-State Sugar Bowl Coach of the Year, the R+L Carriers New Orleans Bowl, Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation Quarterback Club, SportsNOLA.com, WHNO TV, WGSO, 990 AM Prep Coach of the Year for the 2nd consecutive season, Brice Brown, Edna Karr.
I was just telling Bruce I'm glad he gone, Brother Martin. It's so humbling, and I'm gonna start off with I was watching Friday Night Football with Mr. Ed Daniels and Coach JT, and he had a segment, and he was talking about coming together. Coming together. You know, after the tragedy with Joe McKnight, and Coach Powell is too familiar with this same situation too with Johan and Tokyo, and myself with Tonka George. But the moment Saturday that set the whole day for me was as Landry-Walker was coming out and we were going in and we came together. Because even when the clock hit 0, so many things are running through you and you're so excited for your guys. But as that time passed and we was walking out, I just remembered that message from Coach JT, coming together. Coming together. And I'm an advocate of speaking and using our voice to influence for the better. And I think in these times, when you have to bury a former player or a current player, I hope no coach in this building could never experience that. In June, we had to do it. Coach JT had to do it yesterday. And those small things, like he said, coming together and being one, those are the most essential things in life. The small things. We're here to celebrate 15 guys who are doing the right thing. The right thing. Going down the right path. And that's all as coaches we can ask for. They're going to mess up. They're going to be on the phone at 2 in the morning with their girlfriend. But it takes us to straighten them out a little bit. And a message to all coaches. Don't let your hands off of them. Even when they leave and go finish their journey through college, their journey through life, keep your hands on them. Because you never know when any of us will leave this earth. I just appreciate Coach JT so much for that. I want to speak. I'm lost for words that I'm up here right now, but I want to speak with him after and tell him that. Because listening is essential, is the key. Not talking, but listening and hearing. And I think if we can all do that, we can achieve that one goal, which he said was coming together. Not only as Algiers community, but as a city, as a state, as an association, coming together. Because that's the thing, in the end, when all those balls are flat and all of those touchdowns are gone, that's the one thing we'll have, and that's each other. So I want to thank Mr. Ed Daniels, Mr. Trahan, and the New Orleans Sports Foundation. I'm so humbled right now. But it's easy when you have good players. My quarterback, he's gone out. What a great guy, a great guy. It's going to be different when I go in a team meeting, and I know exactly where he sits, and he's not going to be there in January. So, I love him to death. I love all my guys. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. Good night.
So it's kind of a tradition, but as soon as we get, his name will be engraved on a replica Sugar Bowl trophy. And the coaches in this room who won that award know how beautiful it is. And we'll be delivering it to Algiers again. And as I said, there are many coaches in this room who are certainly deserving and did an unbelievable job with their teams. And we look forward to giving out this award many, many more years, because there's no doubt in my mind that the high school coaches in this area are the best in the country. And my thanks to you, and our thanks to the All-State Sugar Bowl for sponsoring our All-State Sugar Bowl Coach of the Year each and every year. Thank you.
Each and every year at these awards luncheons, we hope that we have schools that won state championships. Last year was a strange bird because we didn't have any. Despite 9 state championship games, we didn't have a state champion. We had runner-ups, but no champions. This year, that obviously is not the case because we had state champions from this area in abundance. And we like to do this every year, but we like to call on the state championship coaches to come up and say a couple of words because of their accomplishments, what they've been able to do, and obviously to recognize them for what they did accomplish thanks to their players and support staffs. First of all, the 3A state championship was won by the Letcher Bulldogs for his 2nd straight year, but this was his 1st year back at his alma mater as the head coach and his 2nd straight year of taking a team to a championship game. I'd like to call upon Coach Dwayne Jenkins of Letcher to come up and say a few words at this time, if you don't mind. Coach Jenkins.
First off, let's thank the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation for hosting this event each and every year. I've been fortunate enough to come several times, and it's always a great event. Congratulations to all the players. It's through hard work, dedication, and great teammates that y'all get here. And it's just such an honor. I was here last week speaking to this group, and I kind of told you, our football team carried this burden all year long to be a team that can go back-to-back. And I also told you that I was humbled by the position that I was in. And I was thankful for those guys who sat in that chair before me. And I'll mention him again because he's sitting back there. Coach Monica, sitting back there, was one of the former coaches at Letcher High School that led Letcher to a state championship. He was an assistant under Coach Santamar. Coach Reshaw was an assistant under him. Coach Detillier was an assistant under Coach Reshaw. And I was fortunate enough to be an assistant under Coach Detillier. So we've had great success keeping it within our staff and getting to state championships. While I'm here, thanks to Dylan and John Trey, 2 of our leaders on our football team, were captains the last 3 weeks, really stepped up big when our team needed it the most. And I'd like to thank my coaches that are here today, Coach Daigle and Coach Zarang, serving as co-defensive coordinators, putting egos on the side and putting us in great positions to win every year. Coach Bourgeois, offensive coordinator, Coach Bourne, our special teams coordinator, and our whole staff. So I'd like to thank y'all again. This championship was big for our community. It was something that we had tried 6 times before and never been able to get back to a state championship game. So it was really a special moment for us to win back-to-back for the first time in the school's 91-year history of football. So thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. Of course, you've heard from Brice Brown, our Coach of the Year, with Edna Karr winning a state championship in Class 4A. The next gentleman we'll call up won the 5A state championship this past Saturday night over West Monroe. And it was special because in 2013 you had the merger of 2 schools, O. Perry Walker and L.B. Landry. And for those familiar with the West Bank and the way the school districts are constituted, it wasn't an easy thing when you're asking kids and communities and coaches, for that matter, to come together. They merged the school colors, they merged the kids, they settled on a coaching staff, and then they had to go about the business of having everybody, as Brice said, learn to come together and work together. Well, it wasn't easy, and this gentleman played a large role in making it easy and doing a tremendous job in the transition. It all culminated with their 50-21 victory over West Monroe for the 5A state championship this past Saturday night. From Landry-Walker High School, Coach Emmanuel Powell. Emmanuel?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to God. I want to thank my administration, to Terrence Davis, Coach Casby, Principal Casby, to the Landry-Walker family, to all the players. Congratulations up here. To Landry-Walker players, outstanding effort. To Keytaon Thompson, who I say probably won't come around a kid like that for another 20 years or so. Thank you also. Keytaon's been great from the day that he's walked in. Thank you to his family. I just want to say it's a great honor and a pleasure to be the first state champ for Landry-Walker, putting them on the map. We've been building that program for a few years now. And, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been positive, to all the coaches here who all had a hand. I talked to Coach JT, a couple of other coaches here. So I just want to say thank you to everybody here, and God bless.
Our final state championship coach, we save him for last because he's had a storied career. It's been a fabulous career, one that everyone can look back upon and understand that it was a Hall of Fame career. As a coach at Salmon High School, he led the Spartans to 3 state championships. No small feat considering who they beat to get there. And he moved on to Riverside Academy 5 years ago, was charged with the job of building a program which had been a really good program previously under Mickey Roussel and trying to take it to another level. Well, mission accomplished. In their 4th year, they made it to the state championship as a number 1 seed, but lost in the Superdome to a very good Notre Dame team. But then this past year that just concluded in the select school championships, they were victorious against St. Charles Catholic in the championship game 47-20 to win the state championship. It's quite a way to end a career because less than a week later, as he announced, he is retiring from not only being the head coach at Riverside, but as a high school coach, period, to spend time with his wonderful wife, Christy, his family, grandchildren as well. Will travel to Birmingham, son, and then he'll, of course, be criticizing every other coach imaginable. No, he won't do that at all. Just a wonderful guy, tremendous coach, and I think in the spirit of what Brice talked about and people coming together, he's done it on both sides. He won at a public school, he won at a private school, and there's something to be said about that and coming together and working together and understanding that we're all one, and we should be one and not being separate in the stuff that we're dealing with right now, which I think is terribly unfortunate. That's a personal opinion, but with that, it's my pleasure to introduce a good and great friend, the highly successful head coach of the state champion Riverside Academy Rebels, Coach Bill Stubbs. Bill?
Gosh, I didn't know about this. Guys, number one, what a great assembly of student athletes in front of us. I think we all need. You know, I've been sitting over here, and probably one of the most impressive things that I've witnessed today is the amount of times God has been mentioned in this building. It's for an old guy getting out of here and all the battles that we've had, and you know, it's just amazing. It's amazing to be able to recognize God in a forum like this, and some of you young men, when you talk about God, you know, it's amazing because I can feel it, and you know, so I want to tell you how much I appreciate that. I tell you, gang, yeah, I'm out. It's been a long road. But, you know, folks ask me all the time, why and what. I said, look, I got no regrets, but one of the things that I think that I'm going to miss is so many relationships. I mean, tremendous relationships with folks. And I look around and I see so many guys. Even Frank, you know, Frank, no, I'm just joking, Frank. But I love you. But no, it's been a blessing to be involved in high school athletics in Louisiana. I don't know, you know, athletics was really good over there, but coming to Louisiana and you know, being a part of Louisiana football and Louisiana athletics is just absolutely amazing. I don't think there's any place else in the United States of America that is competitive and can produce the type of quality athletes year in and year out that comes out of Louisiana. Now, and I will say this, the only other thing is that the parents of all these athletes, gosh dang, man, in this world that we live in right now, and all of the distractions and all the different things that are out there, gosh, stay behind these kids and keep rolling with them. You know, they're our future. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Also like to recognize Coach Chris Lashney, who's been named to take over for Bill Stubbs at Riverside, who's here today as well. Chris has been a head coach previously at Pope John Paul II and has been at Riverside with Bill for the last 5 years after coaching at Brother Martin. I'd like to recognize Chris and wish him nothing but the best success. We have any coaches here that would like to coach this team right here today? I'm just asking. I don't know. Pretty good group of guys. We'd like to once again commend, congratulate, and wish nothing but success to each and every one of our student athletes that are here today, and understand the words that you've heard today. Take them to heart. I know you hear a lot of words, but when you listen to some of the people that have spoken, including Ricky here today, and the experiences that they've been through, had to, I think you understand that they've been there. They've been in your shoes. They understand where you are, and more importantly, where you're going. But you have a choice to make, and that's your choice and your choice in singular fashion to decide what your future is going to be. Take advantage of the opportunity. Some of you will play football at the next level. There's some that won't. Others are going to go on to be extremely successful in life based upon the choices that you make by working extremely hard, dedicating yourself to success every day, and never resting on your laurels. Just because you got an award today doesn't mean that tomorrow is taken for granted and you can just coast. Start when you wake up tomorrow and set goals and make sure that you achieve those by the end of the day. Have a checklist. I do that every day, and if I get halfway there, I think I've had a pretty decent day. And if I don't, I probably haven't. But that's the whole thing in life, is to set goals for yourself on a daily basis and try to achieve those. So with that, I want to ask everyone once again to give a big round of applause to all of our honorees up here today. What we're going to ask our student athletes to do is, in the foyer area, right beyond the curtain here, we have our Sports Foundation backdrop. We're going to have a group picture, so parents, coaches, everybody can take pictures. We do this every year and make sure that everybody congregates in the foyer area. You got that? All 15? Right in front of the Sports Foundation backdrop in the foyer. So we'll ask you to do that as we get up here momentarily to head that way. We want to thank the parents again. We want to thank the coaches and administrators for their support, for being here today, and for obviously lending your talents and time to the travails of these young men whose lives are going to be bigger and better as we proceed. I want to once again thank everybody for helping make this possible this year. Jude Young in the back, who engineers and makes sure all of this operates properly. I want to thank Adam Bryant, Darrell Ashley, Lenny Van Gilder, Jay Cicero, also Jeff Rossi, Paul Utterback, Trish Lowe, and Billy Ferranti, and everybody with the Sports Foundation, Sam Joffrey, for helping make this possible too. Our thanks to Ed Daniels and Rick Gailey for helping make the selections on a weekly basis, and for lending their time and talent to this too. So with that, Merry Christmas to you one and all. May God truly bless each and every one of your families. Please pray for the McKnight family. And again, we'll ask all of our young men to make it to the foyer right now so you can take some pictures. And folks, they'll be out there to do so. Thank you for being with us. Travel safe, and once again, God bless you.